Hey guys, welcome back to The Way. Here I'm joined with JT.
It's my buddy Chris.
I'm Chris, if you haven't met me. Together with a bunch of our friends, we help lead the way to give a better message for the case for Christ.
Yes, sir.
Today we're going to be talking about the media versus the Bible. Just a pretty pressing subject in today's culture. Seems very countercultural, but of course we know that our morality comes from the Word of God. So, JT, if you want to kick us
Yeah,
off.
we'll kick us off with what do we mean by media? Um, Definitely talking about TV shows, movies, any type of material like reading, social media, especially like Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Facebook, anything, YouTube even. So why big media versus the Bible? Obviously we're using this platform to kind of share the message on media, but what what about media is so bad sometimes? You hear it talked about a lot, like being bad in schools or whatnot. But why necessarily towards the Bible? What's the downfall there?
I think just in our innate human nature, our flesh, right? We have a lot of fleshly desires and comfort that we can find in those things. And it's, like I said, so countercultural today to follow the Bible, but it wasn't like that 2,000 years ago. To follow the Torah that they had at the time was their law, it was their basis of the law, but now we've kind of shifted into a more self-pleasing society, and the media feeds into that.
Yeah, and we're not trying to red pill it or dive too deep into that today, but a big thing would be distractions. You see, you don't have to explain that very far, but distractions would be taking your eyes away from, what true meaning is. And you see a lot of people lose their self in popularity, likes, follows, views, um, chasing the next big thing, and that all comes with distractions through the media. And why do I say it's distracting? Um, because when you get to the work home and the work and family life, it's distracting. Like what's one way you think about in work or in family? It's kind of distracting.
I just think that when we go to work, as many of us do, we, of course, up our stress levels, work really hard, and of course, we should be doing everything unto the Lord. However, when we get home, we're trying to relieve that stress, and TV shows and music and all of those not necessarily bad things have started to become our comfort.
Like you come home and the first thing you touch is your phone and you check out. And so, it's verse the Bible in that sense of saying being self-sacrificial. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But another thing is like with your family and your work life, those are already taking a lot of your time, and so to add more time into you know constant binge watching or constant scrolling, your life is just passing by really quickly without ever spending any time on something other than pleasing yourself.
I love that Solomon says life is a vapor, right? It's here for a moment and then it's gone like that. What are we wasting our life on rather than spending on something valuable?
Right, and you can find enjoyment in those things definitely for periods of time, but everything in moderation, right? Then you get to the health balance of big media distractions. You think about being distracted and wasting all that time, or just spending that time, even if you're not wasting it per se. Um, you get to, oh, I don't want to work out today. Oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow. We've all been there, or I don't want to use this to better further my health. I just want to use it as a distraction and say, oh, I'm out of time, I'm okay. Or cater ourselves to follow only people that we want to follow that don't better us or make us uncomfortable.
And then we get into the Bible part of this video, where in Proverbs 6:9 it says, "How long will you stay in bed, you slacker? When will you get up from your sleep?" Now, in this, Solomon's trying to tell the person that's comfortable, get up, get out, do the hard thing. In Christianity, so many times we hear it, but it's so true. The road less traveled, the narrow road is the way to heaven. Christ is hard to follow in some ways.
Yeah, he calls you out of your comfort zone. Even in, I have it open to Luke 9:23, and he said to all, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. He's talking about a daily sacrifice, a daily denial of your own desires, of your own comforts. Oh, I want to come home. I want to just sit down and do nothing. That's hard. That's the easy way out.
It's the easy way out.
It's a distraction. It stops you from doing some pretty good things.
And in that same context, we can find our basis for health, right? It's hard to go work out. It's hard to eat right. It's hard to get up early and go on a run or increase our cardio so that our health, our overall health is good, right? And so I just think it's applicable, Proverbs 6:9, to so many parts of our life. Now, to get into the family side of things, we have the story of David and Absalom, where David becomes a unpresent father for his children, and he witnesses his children do some really wicked stuff, or hears about his children doing some really wicked stuff, and chooses to be passive. And this passivity is something that we're getting more and more of in our family structure, on top of what the Ten Commandments say of honor your father and your mother. I feel as though lately, of course, children have been getting fed a screen instead of getting fed a spoonful of family time. These parents are suppliers and not being necessarily as good of providers as they could be.
And that stems deeper into the culture of the entire society that we live in. It's more culturally acceptable now than it was 50 years ago, to just completely ignore the family dynamic and to, like you said, feed them a screen because it's easy. It's not. It's not easy to kind of deny your own ability to cater to somebody who's younger and a child and still learning. And so you think about, I see it all the time with other families. It's like they've kind of wanted to just stay passive, and that's what David was doing with Absalom, and it led to anger, it led to murder, it led to all kinds of evil, like you're saying. It's not good for the family structure. And so this idea, bringing it back to big media, is that these ideas are circulating, that this passivity, and it's okay. And it's not saying outrightly, but it's in the way that it's presented. It's in the way that it's consumed, like a dopamine, a drug.
Right. And just to go back to family, we've been fed now that families are spending less and less time at the table together. They're spending less and less time even at the couch watching TV together, which is just a subtle part of media as well. I mean, me and JT just had dinner with his wife, and we sat down at his dining room table, and it gave me some sort of connection. It gave me a feeling of connection that we're supposed to have with our family, but we've been robbed of it and we've been lied to about it.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that we can work as, and something we can get better at noticing and trying to deny ourselves of the immediate, easy pleasure of sinking back into I'm going to consume, and why don't we give? Because that's what Jesus did. He gave his life for us. He did the hard thing. You know, he did the thing that he probably didn't necessarily want to do in a fleshly sense, but his soul desired for us to be with him. So, in our way of our body and our mind and our heart, it all just wants to relax. It always just wants to distract. It wants to run away from the hard thing to do. But that's not what Jesus called us to do. He said to pick up your cross and carry it daily. So let's try to do more of that.